What we've seen over the past few weeks will not be tolerated. I want to assure the community that every available resource will be utilized to make our community safer.
All right, Tessa, let's get back to this. Sean raised the issue of black-on-black crime, that the largest percentage of African Americans who are being killed by African Americans. As head of the NAACP, address that issue.
That is correct, and it is, and it's been a problem before the Freddie Gray incident. I think that the people in the community that are living there, nobody wants it to happen, and it happens so much. We don't have enough outrage with black-on-black crime.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I have an answer to that. It's because black lives are less valued in society as a whole. When you look at the death penalty, you know, if a black guy kills a black guy, he's less likely to get the death penalty. But if he kills a white woman, it's almost certain, at least in Maryland, before we put the moratorium on.
Maybe it also starts with the fact that a lot of Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are being set up in black neighborhoods.
And that is also a factor as well. But back to the why it's that way and why we're not. It's just simply that we have gotten so desensitized
and that brings up
black-on-black crime, because I feel like
desensitized, because once upon a time, anybody who's over a certain age, when you see a black person on TV, we go like, oh, look, there's a black person on TV for something positive. And then when we see a black crime and someone was murdered, it was almost like a shock, and it would happen a couple of times a year. But now when it happens every day, it's sort of like people have gotten sensitized, and it's shameful because we need to make some corrections.
But it goes back to what I was trying to say at the start of the show. 50 years ago, you look at the way Baltimore was and compare it to the way it is now. 50 years ago, African Americans had jobs to a great extent. We had the industries, Bethlehem Steel, General Motors. Many plants were here. People could work, and when they worked, families stayed together. And the children were raised properly, and the amount of crime was much lower because of the fact that the communities were much more stable. We've destroyed all that. So why is anybody surprised, pardon me, why is anybody surprised when we have all this crime, whether it's black on black, whatever it is? It's Baltimore City people because they don't have jobs, and that's the root problem.
I agree, and I think that with all the people in Baltimore City and anywhere else, if you really care, then you need to put resources back into this community. Show that you care by putting resources in to help the children and to help the young African-American men who need jobs.
Tessa, when you say resources, do you mean money?
Well, jobs, resources.
Because money, there are millions, if not billions of dollars have been poured into West Baltimore to no avail. We spend $17,000 per pupil, which is second in the entire country in Baltimore City on education. So I don't think it's about money per se.
So for example,
talking about money.
You're wrong, Sean. No, so for example, you can't exactly, you know, get rid of the industry, but then not buffer it with education so that people can go into other industries. So the failure wasn't just that General Motors and Karl Lowry and Bethlehem Steel all closed and all those other factories, but it was also that then generationally there was nothing else to do for people who weren't going on to four-year colleges. So then that very much destroyed the possibility of having what you said. It wasn't just like the defabrication of the family, it was also the fact that there's nothing left because we're not educating them properly.
The educational system is not preparing children and young men, especially for what's out here in Baltimore for jobs right now. It's not happening. When people leave high school, where are they going to go if they don't want to go to college? Just like you said, there's not the jobs at the waterfront and factory work. We need to have something where people have jobs.
You can't
and it can be done.
To tear down all the projects in West Baltimore because projects are bad and then rebuild them with other houses that will put the same people back in at the same cost structure, but just don't call them projects.
Houses were put back.
The NAACP has blasted the FOP for its sharp criticism of the mayor and the state's attorney, calling it disrespectful and borderline racist. Now, before I ask you about that, the FOP, on the other hand, says the mayor has been a poor leader and that the state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, has overcharged the officers in the Gray case. So address the issue about it's disrespectful and how borderline racist. What does that mean?
Well, I think that what the NAACP and what we decided when we had our talk is that we have leadership, strong leadership and intelligent women, and they happen to be African American. We take offense to them being ridiculed, and they're African American. So why are you doing this? I don't think it has been done under other leaderships. We have to protect number one, women, and I will do that. And also that I think Marilyn Mosley stepped to the plate in her position to do some indictments. The court system will find out through the court process if anyone is guilty or not.
I would think that if any other you see, state's attorney, I don't care what they are, white male, I think you get the same kind of reaction from the attorneys of the Baltimore City.
And they have the right to do that.
But to be clear,
you have a black commissioner, you have half the Baltimore City Police Department, which is black. You have 3 of these officers who've been charged are black. So I don't think there's anything racist about them. I think it's really unfortunate to invoke racism in any of these criticisms.
So Sean, I don't think that doesn't make it racist, but what I also think that one of the bigger issues is that it's also sexist. It's probably a lot more sexist than it is racist.
Yes.
But it's both to an extent.
So Marilyn Mosby needs protection because she's a woman, but if a guy, you wouldn't need to speak up on behalf of the male?
I think the reaction from the FOP is because she's a girl. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
The reaction is what she said at the end of her press conference when she said, "This is our time, this is our moment." That was unprofessional behavior on the part of a state's attorney.
Tom Binkin,
her job is not to play to the
mob. Her job is to prosecute and seek justice.
So let me say this.
Her comment was one of the things that she said.
Hold it, wait, let her finish. Go
ahead, Robin.
I was just going to say, once they've been charged, she is fully empowered to have the back of the victim. That's what her role is, and that's her duty. And that's what she was talking about.
Her role is to seek justice. I find myself in the curious position of aligning myself in this situation with Sean. I'm a member of the NAACP.
Thank you.
And the fact of the matter is that when I saw your comments, at first I agreed, and then I began to think about it more substantially, and I thought, you know, maybe this is a little bit of an overreaction on the part of the NAACP. And that, in point of fact, it's more a positional situation regarding both the state's attorney's office and the mayoralty, as well as the police, all of whom are protecting their own turf, irrespective of race.